What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica podcast. We are live here for the Derby preview, and we thank all of you that have been patient enough to wait for us. I know we said 2 o'clock; it's 2:07. So,
whoa!
But no big deal. Let's get this started. First of all, with me tonight, or actually
This afternoon.
this afternoon.
Well, it might be night. Peggy's case, it might be morning.
Peggy's case, I don't know. It might,
Might be
I don't
morning
know.
already.
I don't know what time it is over there. Cristiano Oliveira.
Hola. How you doing today, bro? You excited?
I'm definitely excited. What
As
about
am
you?
I. As am I.
Excited
Very
about this
excited and
derby?
nervous. Very nervous coming into this game today. But it's another Lisbon Derby, bro. And
Another Lisbon Derby.
Another Lisbon Derby, just like our good friend Steve Santos likes to say, another night, another podcast, another February, another Lisbon Derby.
That's right. So we'll just let's get this thing underway. Obviously, Benfica plays Sporting, as you've just heard. They get underway in about 52 minutes, more or less. And we're here to preview the Derby. And let's get this started by looking at the list of the game roster list that was chosen by JJ. The list was only announced this morning. If you look at the list, Gaetan does figure in the list, but the latest that we've heard is that Gaetan abandoned the Seixal after this morning's session, so he's not going to be part of it. Artur Moraes, Paulo Lopes, as the goalkeepers, defenders, Lisandro Lopes, Luizão, Maxi, Eliseu, Jardel, André Almeida, and Cesar. Midfielders, Samaris, Gaetan, Olajan, Salvio, Pizzi, Cristante, and Talisca. Forwards, Derlei, Lima, Jonas, and Guedes. And you're looking at a possible projected lineup for Benfica. This is without Gaetan, with John on the wings, Salvio on the wings, Artur, Eliseu, Jardel, Luizão, and Maxi across the back, Samaris, defensive midfield, Lima, and Jonas up front. I don't know if there's lineups yet, but we'll keep checking that for you. And here's Sporting's projected lineup: Rui Patricio, Tobias Figueiredo, Paulo Oliveira, Jefferson, Cedric on the sides of the defense, William Carvalho, Adrian Silva, and João Mário, Nani, Montero, and Carrillo up front. So that's pretty much the reported or projected, if we want to call it, lineup for Sporting as far as that goes. So we'll wait to see if there's a lineup soon, and we'll advance them. But let's get into a little bit of history on actually the Derby. This is the history on the new Alvalade, and I believe this is the biggest sellout in the history of the new stadium for Sporting. 13 years they've been on. This is the biggest sellout. So it had to be Benfica coming.
Absolutely. Everywhere Benfica goes, they sell out. No surprise there.
So we're if you're looking at the screen right now, it looks like it shows the record and the attendance for the past 13 matches, 5 wins, 5 losses for Benfica, and 3 ties. So the other thing is that Benfica hasn't lost to Sporting since 2012. So that's encouraging, Chris.
I mean, it's just spectacular numbers when you look at it. Benfica under Jorge Jesus, since he's been around, 14 games in all competitions against Sporting, he lost 1. So that should give Benfica a lot of confidence, because obviously this guy knows how to set up his team and how to get his team mentally prepared to face their arch nemesis, their arch rivals, and the city rivals. So coming into this game, as far as you look at it on paper, Benfica definitely has the advantage as far as coach goes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Coaching goes, I think that we are a team more experienced also. I think if you compare position by position, you're probably in the majority of the positions were superior to Sporting. But games are not played on paper. Games are played on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you, myself, and Steven sitting here doing that exact thing, which was looking at position by position on paper against Futebol Clube do Porto, and they were obviously, as far as the three of us looked at it. They were better than us in majority of the positions, but that obviously didn't work out for them. So hopefully this is the case here again. I think Sporting, they obviously, in my mind and a lot of people's minds, have a very dominant midfield compared to Benfica's, and that's where they have the huge advantage coming into this game today. If they're able to dominate the midfield, I think Sporting is going to have a very good chance of coming out with a very positive result here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're actually looking at the cover of Bala, and they always come up with great cartoons when it comes to the derbies. And here's the copy of today's record. So Nani and Salvi both in the forefront of the covers.
Things are definitely getting fancy here at Benfica Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed.
Things are getting fancy, yes. I guess you could call it that. We're doing the best we can. We're just two guys. We're doing all this on our own. The payasada, and I hope you enjoy it. I know there's a lot of people looking forward to this, so we
need Nelson over here producing all this stuff, pressing all the buttons.
We're glad that you guys are adding on to this. Let me just give you a little bit of background as far as Sporting and the stats goes. Sporting has only lost one game this season. They have not lost at home this season, and they have 6 consecutive wins, a streak of 6 consecutive wins. Benfica has more wins away than Sporting. Benfica has also scored 23 goals away. I believe that's a league best. And Sporting has only scored 20 goals at home. Benfica has only allowed 6 goals away. That's also a league best. And Sporting has allowed 8 at home. Benfica away, more wins than anybody else in the league, more goals scored than anybody else in the league, least goals suffered than anybody else.
Well, they're tied with Porto after yesterday. I'm pretty sure Porto played on the road yesterday. Right? I'm not even familiar.
Yeah.
I don't recall. But I'm assuming they did. And they're both obviously at 23 goals for the scored, and Benfica at 6 suffered, and Porto at 7. Those two teams are always going to be close as far as stats go. But yeah, Benfica's only dropped 6 points on the road this season. So I mean, it's going to be a very entertaining game here, man. Benfica, all things considering, I know I went ballistic, once they lost to Pasta Ferreira, but they came in on a 10-game winning streak. Obviously, slipped up that game, picked it right back up, beat Boavista pretty easily. And so when you look at the overall number, you're looking at 11 wins in 12 games.
Yeah,
so it's not bad. So.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
And hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt you. And in those 12 games, only allowed 2 goals. So, I mean, you look at what Benfica's done. I know majority of us, and I know, again, I went crazy, and I'm still very nervous coming into this game today. But all things considered, it hasn't been the most impressive soccer, but they're getting the results. And so today, I hope they kind of apply the same mentality and the same tactical system that they applied at Dragão, which was basically defend as a team. Put pressure up front, make sure that Sporting doesn't have a lot of time on the ball, because we one thing we know is with young players, guys that lack experience, they're going to turn the ball over a lot more often than not. So that's what I'm looking forward to today. I'm hoping Jorge Jesus obviously is on his game. It's not just one of those sideline freak shows that a lot of times we're used to seeing. But yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be very exciting. A little concerned about Eliseu and Carrillo. I think that matchup is going to be I'm hoping that Eliseu comes up with one of his best performances of the season, but Carrillo's been playing terrific of late. He's, statistically, he's having his best season at Sporting. So that's definitely going to be a matchup that I look forward to, which is Carrillo and Eliseu.
Right. The other thing is that Mark Silva has not beaten Jorge Jesus in their head-to-heads. If you recall, that game in which we gave up the title a couple years ago was a tie against Estoril, and Mark Silva has yet to beat Jorge Jesus. So, I mean, something's got to give. Sporting hasn't lost at home. It may very well turn out to be a tie, so they keep their record. But, I think that the numbers going into this game, they're favorable to us. But as I've said, things are not played. The games are not played with numbers; they're played on the field, and that's we're hoping. But Cristiano, let's look real quick here at 2 topics of interest, and one of them obviously being the absence of Gaetan. We were hoping that Gaetan was going to be a big factor in this game, even if it was healthy. But I think in a run up to the game in our podcast last Tuesday, you had said that a guy that's been on the sidelines for over a month, very doubt that he's going to come in right away,
hitting on all cylinders,
and hitting on all cylinders.
Absolutely. So, all things considered, I still rather see Gaetan on the pitch a lot more than I'd rather see certain other guys. But if he's not 100%, man, I know a lot of you guys have posed the question on Twitter earlier today. Should Benfica use this guy? To me, it's very simple. If he's not 100%, I try to save him as much as I could, unless I really, really need him in an emergency situation. Because let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, Benfica cannot come away from Estádio José Alvalade today with 0 points. They have at the very least to come away with the draw. So if that's what it's going to take to bring Gaetan in and feel, to get that draw, I consider it. But if he's not 100%, I don't want this guy to come on the field and risk further injury.
Yeah, on the other side, on Sporting side, he got Slimani. And this was a guy that up until he left for the Can, he was their number one choice over Montero. He did come back from the Can, and he was on a timing where he could have played, but apparently he forced to play and aggravated an injury that he had. So he wasn't even on the roster sheet. But how do you think that's going to really affect this? I mean, that was one of the weapons that they were counting on.
I mean, listen, I think Montero stepped in and done quite well for them. They're both level at seven goals for the season. I know Montero struggled a little bit. A lot of people even question whether this guy was going to be on the team at the beginning of the season. That being said, I think ever since Slimani left, he's picked up the slack, and not just himself, but I think overall Sporting's picked up the slack. João Mario, Carrillo, obviously Nani. These guys have all been able to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's the one thing that Sporting's going to be able to cause today, which is a lot of action down the flanks, a lot of danger for Jardel and Luizão. And the one thing we know, we talked about this last week, again, when Jardel has someone in front of him that's agile, that's got the speed, those are the times that I personally crap my pants.
Yeah.
Which is, I start to fear all the worst things that could go wrong. So that being said, I think Montero, still a very good player. He doesn't have the mobility that Slimani does, but I think that the other players around him will be able to pick up the slack for Sporting.
Right. And you're watching the Benfica podcast Derby pregame show, 1 hour show that we're doing this. This is the first time we're doing this. If you want to interact with us, I'll see if Chris can monitor the YouTube comments. You could also hashtag Benfica podcast on your Twitter, and we'll try to get up on some questions and all that. The other topic, Chris, that I wanted to talk about is obviously the absence of Julio Cesar. He's done great things for us over the season. He got hurt. All of a sudden, there's kind of like a black cloud of pessimism that's taken over Benfica fans' minds, where all of a sudden Artur is coming in. Flashbacks to the game that we played at Stade de Luz, where Artur kind of gave the ball to Slimani and they tied the game. So I don't know. It's is it concerning to you that Artur is in goal?
I'm trying to be optimistic, but yeah, it is very concerning. I mean, let's not forget the last time he played in a big derby like this. What did he do? He turned the ball over. I think it was Carrillo, off of Carrillo, right? Rebound, tried to clear the ball, and Carrillo put the ball in the back of the net.
It's either him or Slimani. I'm not really sure which one.
I think it was one of those two. I think it was, I don't know, whomever it was. The point is that he effed up, and he was obviously, he was the culprit of giving away the 2 points to Sporting, to the little Lagartos that started to lose. That being said, man, we know the experience, we know the confidence that Julio Cesar brings to this team overall, not just the back four, but to the overall team. And I'm not sure that Artur brings that to this club right now. So I'm very concerned. But one thing's for sure, Artur's shown you in the past that the guy could absolutely play with the best of them at times. He pulls saves out of his behind. I'm just hoping he's on one of those days today. I'm hoping that he looks at this and he takes it as an opportunity to show everybody that he is a very good goalie and that he could play at any time.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is a good shot stopper. There's no question. But his feet game lacks, his distribution skills lack. So
terrible.
But just also JJ in his presser, he was asked about Artur if there was anything said to Artur, just on purpose for this game, trying to relax him. And look, he said Artur is a veteran keeper. He doesn't really need the pep talk that a young keeper that might go in there and might be scared. He doesn't need that kind of pep talk. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He's been working hard I'm sure. I'm thinking that Sully Cesar has been an inspiration to him, and he's been working hard, and he's ready. He's ready to go. I mean, we got to get behind him. You know, the crowd, he can't get right on the guy, you know.
But you know they're going to start to heckle. Every time he touches the ball, you know that they're going to start to whistle and you know, and clap and do all the things necessary to try to get this guy and distract him, get him off his game. It's going to be very nerve-wracking. I say it all the time. Anytime Jardel touches the ball and anytime he touches the ball, bro, I'm on the edge of my seat, have absolutely no nails left. So I'm hoping that he's able to be catered out of bounds and do what you got to do and get rid of it. So
hit it with your pinky toe. I don't care.
That's it. Piqueira, pa frente. Ora. That's what I'm hoping for today.
Yeah. So, Chris, just check to see if there's any lineups yet. And
I did. I checked. They, you know, Vola they have, I guess, what everyone pretty much expects the starting 11.
Is it official?
No, it's not. They don't even have the guys on the bench yet. Who you know? So they just have the equipa principal provável.
Okay.
Most likely.
Well, we should be having
which is basically the lineup that you read at the beginning of the show here.
Yeah, you got 37 minutes to kick off. The players should be entering the pitch to
start warming up.
See anything behind
I just said hello to Artur. I gave him a thumbs up. Give a guy a vote of confidence on the way.
Words of encouragement.
On the way out of the tunnel. And as you guys can see, as Alfredo mentioned, this is going to be a sellout, but this is a very late arriving crowd at Stadio José Alvalade today. But I have absolutely no doubt that, you know, all the fans will be in the seats come game time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sellout, biggest sellout in José Alvalade's history, and it has to be a Benfica game. Their own fans can't even sell out the place. Come on now.
All right, according to the Bola, I guess they're confirming Sporting starting 11. Rui Patrício, Cedric, Paulo Oliveira, Tobias Figueiredo, Jefferson, João Mário, William Carvalho, obviously, Adrian Silva, Carrilho, Freddie Montero, and Nani, which is the same one that I think everyone and their mother predicted coming into this game.
There you go. It's up on the screen right now. The technology here at the Benfica podcast is quite amazing. It's up on the screen right now. So, you know, looking at this lineup, it's obviously a lineup that everybody predicted. What are some of the areas here that you see as being keys for Sporting?
Obviously, I think that the midfield, that's where they have the biggest advantage coming into this game. We don't know who Jorge Jesus is going to decide to play in that 8 hole. So Samaris, he's on and off. Lately, he's been playing better. I'm not going to criticize the guy over his recent performance over the last 3 to 4 weeks now. But they definitely, João Mário and Adrian Silva and Carvalho, I mean, those 3 guys would absolutely start on this Benfica squad, hands down. And then, obviously, Carrilho and Nani. If Nani is on, Moxie, we all love Moxie. But if Nani is on, and Nani has one of those games that we've seen him have, you know, whether it was at Sporting or for the national team, which that happens very rare. But even at Manchester United, when Nani is on, the guy could beat the best of them. So those are going to be some of the tactics, some of the the things that they're going to try to exploit on Benfica is going to be obviously down the wing. And because, like I said, I've mentioned him multiple times, they're definitely going to have the advantage in the middle of the park with those 3 guys.
I think Moxie's going to be like, "O passa bola, passo gás."
I mean, that's Moxie every day. I mean, nothing changes. That's what Moxie does. I'm pretty sure he does that at warm-ups with his kids and stuff, beach soccer.
But do you see maybe a change, you know, since Moxie is a pesquier defender, do you see a change maybe in Nani and Carrilho changing the flanks?
No, I think, listen, I think I haven't watched many Sporting games, guys. I'm not going to sit and try to pull a wool over anyone's eyes. I'm Benfiquista through and through. I could care less what Sporting does besides, the final score at the end of every game. That being said, the few games that I have seen, whether through, Champions League or the Portuguese league, both of those guys rotate, man. They switch back and forth, and Nani, he's just as good as he is on the left as he is on the right, and the same thing with Carrillo. They're very similar players, both of these guys, and when they're on, these guys are able to take on the best players in Europe, and so I think that's the area, that's the key for Sporting. If they're able to exploit Eliseu, who I have not been as hard on as most of you guys have, I think that's going to be their game plan. Just get the ball on the right side and try to, kill Eliseu, because not just Eliseu, ladies and gentlemen, the guy to his right is Jardel. So it's a much easier task to go down Eliseu and Jardel's side than it is to go down Luizão and Moxie. At least one thing's for sure. Moxie's going to, he's going to hammer you. Pasa bola, pasa, it is what it is. He's going to get on you. So, whether you're looking at it as far as the physicality of the game or not, I'm going to decide to go down the right side. I'm going to try to stay away from Luizão and Moxie as much as I can.
Yeah, you're right. And Carrillo is also a guy, he's inconsistent at times, but is very skilled. He's a knucklehead sometimes with his decisions, but is a guy that's very skilled. And as Chris said, if Nani is on, also if Carrillo is on, we might have some troubles with Eliseo because we all know that Eliseo's forte is not as defending. So we'll see. We got any lineups for Benfica yet?
No, nothing yet. Nobody's confirming it. I think Jorge Jesus is going to try to hold out as much as he can because obviously you could play Jonas and at the drop him back a little bit more. Maybe play Talisca on the outside. I'm very excited to see what the hell is going to go. Very intrigued, I should say, not excited. Very intrigued to see what the hell lineup Jorge Jesus is going to opt out for this game today.
Yeah,
I'm trying every second. I keep looking over to the computer.
Yeah,
to see if anything's been look, but like the ball is reporting, Talisca is not warming up with the rest of the guys. Andre Almeida,
he is warming up.
Andre Almeida is going to play in the middle, according to Ebola. So as you can see, Jorge Jesus comes into this game. He has his press conference, says Benfica's not going to change their tactics, not going to change their style of play.
Yeah,
because it's Sporting. We play our style regardless who the hell we face. And now, as you can see, this is the first at least warning of changes to come.
Yeah, and Mr. Santos with the 6 is asking Eliseo or Almeida. We all know what's going to happen there. I don't think, as Chris has just said, that Eliseo is not going to go anywhere, and JJ is not going to mess around with the team. I think that's what it is.
No, I think Almeida is going to play in the middle. I think it's going to be Samaris. I think you might play Almeida at the 6.
Yeah.
Samaris. Well, he's warming up.
Almeida's warming up.
Where were you at? What country? I was just
trying to produce the show.
Oh, that's what it is. We need Neil Nelson. We need one of these guys to show up. Peggy, we might get him over. Bring him over from Australia to produce our. Okay, here it is. So, Ebola, Artur, Maxi, Luizão, Jardel, Eliseo, Salvio, Samaris, Andre Almeida, Olajan, Lima, and Jonas. So basically, he dropped Talisca for Andre Almeida because like I've mentioned 50,000 times, and I'm pretty sure that if our own, very good friend Steve Santos 06 was here sitting beside us, he'd agree that the dominance that Sporting has in this midfield coming into this game, this obviously has made Jorge Jesus rethink his lineup and shuffle the cards and bring in Andre Almeida into the midfield. And I think it's going to be Almeida at the 6 with Samaris with a little bit more freedom, more wiggle room going forward.
So you think this is the right move to combat the Sporting midfield?
Bro, you don't have many options. We talked about this over the last couple of podcasts. Benfica does not have many options, at least until Ruben Amorim gets back healthy. Now, I heard that Feja might be on his way back. So right now, that's all he has. So Talisca offers you absolutely nothing on the defensive side of the ball. Nothing. And one thing we know, you don't allow goals, you guarantee not to lose. And I think that's what Jorge Jesus is thinking here.
I think that at worst, in his presser, he did say that we're not going to Alvalade to think either win or tie. We're just going for the win. But
loss or tie, you mean? Or we're going for the win.
Well, yeah, but it's a clear move that he doesn't want to lose this game, putting Almeida in the middle. If that's where Almeida is going to line up, which looks like that's where he is.
I mean, listen, I got to be honest. I kind of like it. Because the one thing's for sure, Carvalho, Adrian Silva, João Mario, they were going to run rampant in that midfield. So at least if things go Benfica's way, and maybe a couple of guys in the midfield are off for Sporting, Benfica always has the option of bringing in Talisca because you don't really have many options on the bench. Now you do with Talisca coming off the bench if maybe you need a goal here and there. So I kind of understand what Jorge Jesus is doing. I just don't like the BS that I'm getting from Benfica, not just on the coaching staff, but even from the front office. We're not going to do this. We're not going to sell these players. We're not. And then when the day comes, it's kind of like that philosophy is just straight out the door. It's kind of like they're lying to us. And that's the thing about Jorge Jesus. Maybe it's mind games. It is what it is. But the whole speech of how we're not going to change. We're Benfica. We always play our style. We're going to come in, play our best against your best.
Yeah.
And now, as we can see, he obviously didn't stick to his words.
Well, I think it's the old talk of the whole saying, obviously, actually, of money talks. So, we've seen Porto time and time again, and I hate to bring up Porto in this podcast or whatever, but we've seen him time and time again just refusing offers. No, can't go. But Benfica, if the money is right and somebody shows up with the right money, boom.
Yeah, but if you go on that, obviously, o jogo recorda, and I believe we're all reporting that Benfica turned down last-minute offers for Olajan. And as I mean, most
No,
of you guys,
they asked him if he wanted to go, and he said no.
okay, but I'm pretty sure Benfica also didn't have other options. They couldn't go out and get anyone else to be Nico Gaitan's backup, and especially when you have two fragile wingers in Gaitan and Salvio, you got to try to hold on to someone as a backup, because when these guys go down, which is a certainty, seems like they go down every other month, at least Salvio, you need someone to be able to replace them with, and Ola John is a good option.
Yeah, absolutely. So just real quick, looking at the lineups, and we've already explored a couple of matchups here with Maxi and Elise on the wings against Carrillo and Nani. Also, the other thing is Almeida and Samaris to combat the midfield trio of João Mario, Adrian Silva, and William Carvalho. But we're also, Chris, obviously, most likely we're going to see Jonas dropped in a little bit into the midfield and trying to prevent William Carvalho from organizing at the back.
But that's what Jonas does. Jonas is the type of player that likes to come back into the midfield, get the ball, face the goal, and whether you set up or whether he goes on goal, he likes to create chances. That's the type of player that he is. And I think that's exactly why you put in André Almeida, because now it allows Jonas to come back a little bit more, whether it's defensively or going forward, and get involved in the game a little bit earlier. And that's the one thing Talisca hasn't been able to do, whether on the defensive side and even a lot of times going forward. Steve kills him all the time, because even when the guy was scoring goals, and it wasn't that we were the biggest fans, but I was content. At least the guy was doing something, which was scoring goals. He hasn't done crap lately.
Yeah, he doesn't. Aside from the goals, and there was another topic that we touched up on, when he stops scoring goals, what happens?
Even the song, they stopped playing the song. Deixa Talisca jogar.
Agora deixa Talisca sentar.
Yeah, deixa Talisca sentar.
But the guy, I mean, Talisca is a young kid. He's got a lot of talent. He's got technique, but he's, as far as
still raw, man, very raw. We talk about Cristante, how raw he is and stuff. I mean, and this is a player that came from the Serie A, even though he didn't get a lot of playing time with AC Milan, but it's still European soccer. And when we say he's raw, we allow him the time to develop. We kind of have to do the same thing for Talisca. Let's not forget, he's coming off from Brasileirão, which is a slow-paced game. A lot of times they walk the ball up front.
Not very tactical either.
Not at all. And so, yes, he just, knocked our socks off at the beginning of the season. The guy was scoring every game and, multiple goals a game at times. So I think a lot of people's expectations went through the roof. And in particular, when Jose Mourinho comes out and talks about we're scouting this guy, I've already known he was. And we saw that BS going back and forth with Jorge Jesus and
Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers, that whole crap. So I think a lot of people's expectations went through the roof. But that being said, I think Steve called it right off. Steve wasn't impressed. Steve, hats off.
We don't call him Chalkboard Steve for nothing.
Chalkboard Steve. I mean, you could be on Twitter, but you couldn't be sitting side by side with us, right? I see how it is. I got you. But like I said, Steve called it. I don't think neither one of us was impressed with his play, but we could not deny the fact that he was scoring goals, and we cannot deny the fact that that's the next meal ticket. Jorge Jesus is going to play this guy. I'm surprised he didn't probably put him at left back today, because the guy under Jorge Jesus could play all 10 positions.
All 10.
Mas é só com ele.
That's só com ele. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Obviously, if you're watching the game, just keep an eye on the wing battles and also the midfield battle. I think that's going to be huge. But I think another factor is obviously going to be the two young center backs that Sporting has.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was thinking of something to say.
Right here. And that's going to be a big thing. How, Lima being the experienced forward that he is, and a guy that puts in a lot of work, a guy that's used to maybe playing off the center forward's shoulder. I'm curious to see what Lima can do to just get these guys off their game.
I think at the very least, one thing we're going to see from Lima is what we see week in, week out. The guy's going to give it his all as long as he's out on the field. Whether he misses opportunities, whether he's burying them, the guy's going to give it his all. To me, the one thing is going to be what Jonas is able to do, because Jonas is the type of player that could slip balls in behind the two very inexperienced central defenders for Sporting, and that's where Lima comes in with his pace and his physical play, and that's what I'm looking for, because obviously we've sat here, and I in particular, I should say, I've sat here for the last 30 minutes preaching about, what Sporting can do to Benfica and praising Sporting. Now, I kind of have to turn it around and say, on the other hand, Benfica could absolutely take advantage of their very inexperienced team overall, and in particular their back four. I know, Toto Salvio on the right side against Jefferson is going to be an interesting matchup, but if Ola John is on, man, it's going to make things very interesting to me going into this game. I'm just I'll be lying to you guys. I'm concerned more so with the midfield of Sporting, at least in the center of the park, because if Benfica is unable to get the ball and you don't have the ball, right, you can't score goals. And
but over the years, the midfields that we've had to battle namely the past couple seasons, especially Porto, has always been a three-man midfield that we have to contend. And
we had players though.
Yeah, JJ finds a way to work it out.
I mean, think about it. Witzel.
Yeah.
Matic.
Yeah.
Perez. I mean, come on. Where are those guys right now? We don't really have them.
Yeah, we don't have.
So, I mean,
you're right.
Benfica had the luxury of having a three-man midfield and telling the other, the striker, because we'd always play, a 4-3-3 kind of at times. The two wingers and the striker, and tell them, just roam around, do what you got to do, because you had the luxury of having those guys in the midfield. There is no Witzel. There is no Perez. There is no Matic on this team right now.
Andre Almeida will have to step up tonight.
And Andre Almeida.
And somebody's not a 6.
Exactly. He's not but Andre Almeida will play the 6 today, guys.
What do you think?
I firmly believe, and I'm actually excited about that, because
you think the 6 are going to play side by side as the two pivots?
Like I said, they might play side by side. They might start off side by side, but I think if one or the other is going to have the responsibility of going forward, it's going to be Samaris, which therefore, in my book, the 6 is going to be Andre Almeida, the guy that stays back and kind of controls everything from back. So I'm happy that this is happening, because we had this argument over the last 2 podcasts, and you guys telling me, well, Jorge Jesus said, and I said, Jorge Jesus doesn't have any other options. And now, as you can see, he's trying to play a little bit more defensive game. What does he do? He's going to move Samaris out of the 6th position. And I totally expect to see that today. But it's still going to be a very tough matchup, because Carvalho, even though I don't think the guy has a clue on what to do with the ball going forward, he's a very physical player. Not the greatest at covering his wing backs, defending wise, I should say. And that's kind of like one of the other things I don't like about the guy. They talk about him as the greatest center mid ever, and at least the Sportingistas do. But he doesn't really do much work covering the He doesn't do much. To me, he only plays in the middle.
Yeah.
That's the only position. He doesn't go out wide defending. He doesn't go out wide attacking. Yeah. His passes, majority of them are backwards. So, I mean, listen, I'm talking crap about this guy. He's going to go out there and score 2 goals today.
He has a very, very limited area of range. So we'll see what happens. But I'm like you. I'm interested in to see that the center back lineup. The center back. Matchup with Lima and Jonas, and I think we could take advantage of that. For those of you looking for a stream, Picant 07, there's another guy with a number in his Twitter, 07, Picant 07.
There's nothing wrong with numbers in your Twitter handle. I have a number in my Twitter handle. I got
that's true.
4 numbers, 10, 10.
Yeah,
well, at least
if you're looking for a stream, you could go over to rojadirecta.me or
hit up Steve, like man. Steve's the guy that with all the technology.
Yeah,
he's the geek squad of the Benfica podcast.
Yeah, for those of you in the United States, the game will be on primetime on Univision Deportes.
Orale.
At 8 o'clock.
But you can't listen to those guys though. Please just mute it.
Yeah, not if Stoichkov is there.
Yeah, well, and even the other guy, the play-by-play dude, was talking about how Luisao, he played at Juventus and then he came to Benfica. I said, yeah, it must have been on FIFA or something on Xbox or PlayStation. So clueless. They didn't know who Talisca was, but they knew who the Anderson Talisca was. Oh, he also goes by Anderson Talisca. Oh, now I know. Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Did you know that Anderson Talisca was named by one of the French publications as one of the emerging new stars in Portugal?
Of course.
Because he was scoring. But what now?
And not just that, you have the special one, Jose Mourinho, talking you up. You're going to be on everybody's top whatever list.
Chris, check to see if we have any comments on YouTube that we can answer. So far,
no nada, man. No nada.
so far, it's only Mr. Steve and Amina and Picant tweeting at us.
Avola Cadernos. He's talking about how did Steven Vitória not get called up for this game?
There's the Steven Vitória mention. Boom.
Benfica is life says, I would prefer PZ over Talisca. What do you guys think?
What do you think? Well,
For this game,
yeah,
just
I would go too.
but I mean, guys, I can't contradict myself. I mean, I don't think PZ is a center midfielder. I don't think he's an 8.
Yeah.
I don't think he, that's his forte. I think this is a guy that's played out wide and he played up top majority of his career. Now Benfica is trying to convert him. What a shocker. Another player being converted into another position that he's not familiar with. And a lot of times, yes, he's very agile and he's got the little trickery up his sleeve, but majority of the times he looks uncertain on what to do with the ball. In these types of games, I want someone that absolutely knows what to do, gets the ball, gets it out playing, creates opportunities. And I don't think Pizzi's that type of player. Just yet, at least not in the center of the park. You put him out wide, maybe bring him in for Ola John if he struggles or whatever. Okay, I can see it. But I just don't want to see another player being converted to another position that he's not familiar with because they're not themselves, man. You have to think before you react. And the great players just react. They don't think.
Yeah. Peter 1678 saying Jardel está em dificuldades. Lisandro pode jogar. I don't know.
Lisandro didn't even get called up to the team.
No, he's there. He's there.
Did he?
Yeah, he's there.
No, stop playing.
I'm serious. So,
Nah,
I don't know how true that is if Jardel's having a hard time or he got hurt in the warm-ups. But, it'd be nice to see Lisandro.
I'm going crazy. I could have sworn Lisandro.
Yeah,
I saw Cesar. I did not see Lisandro.
No, he's in there.
Okay. Well,
he's in there. What else I was? All right, Chris, let me ask you this.
Fala.
Pizzi or Cristante? Well, I don't know.
For this game?
I already know.
Yeah. For this game? Man, listen. There's 2 things that we know for sure about me on this Benfica podcast. Well, 3, I should say. Coming into the season, right in August, when everybody was crying, and I myself was one of the people crying in my sleep. But the 3 things for sure, I was extremely content with the signing of Cristante, who I think is going to be a phenomenal player in the next year and a half. I loved the Julio Cesar signing.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved the Julio Cesar signing. And then the other one, which I was silently praying for every single day when I wake up, I turn on the laptop and go to my papers or make some phone calls, do what I had to do to get my information at the time. And because I didn't even want to mention it because a lot of times I'm a jinx, guys. So don't tell nobody. I was just silently praying that Benfica signed this Brazilian dude that was a free agent that had just gotten released by Valencia.
Come on, man.
Listen, it's not my fault. You're still not a fan.
I am a fan.
Okay.
I understand the guy's value.
Am I BSing everybody here today?
No, you're not.
I was on it day one. I even got into an argument with Steve06 that I take him over Saviola. Remember I said that? And we got into this huge, which has nothing to do with today. Steve, I love you, bro. Hit me up later.
Anybody with developments on Jardel, tweet at us. I don't know if anybody's on the. I don't know. I think Peter usually goes to these games, but I'm not really sure. But anyway,
yeah, I mean that's what ballers are. I guess, guys, I apologize.
That
goes to tell you where I was at. Yeah, Lisandro did warm up, but apparently, I guess this dude Jardel's all right.
Jardel's good.
Damn.
Ready to go.
We know Timo and Nelson and these guys doing cartwheels in their living rooms right now, but damn, kind of hoping the dude was hurt. Yeah, but that being said, though, I'm not trying to to dominate the microphone here, but that being said, even that decision by Jorge Jesus leaves me scratching my head. It does, because over the last month, he's obviously chosen Cesar over Lisandro. Anytime that Luisão was hurt or even the Jardel. Now all of a sudden you got both of them healthy and you're going back to Lisandro. It's kind of like.
Well, Cesar's just coming back from injury. I think Lisandro has been on for quite some time. But something else that's kind of similar to that, he's not played André Almeida at a 6. He's played Cristante at a 6, and all of a sudden Almeida gets the call to play with Samaris.
Listen, I understand that though. I understand that though. You can't bring, a player like Cristante to this game right now without the experience. This game, it's a derby, bro. No matter how bad these teams are playing or how well these teams are playing, this game's always going to bring on a lot of pressure. And maybe the kid maybe JJ doesn't think he's ready for that level just yet. And then when you have him and you bring in Samaris, another guy that really doesn't have any experience as far as the Sporting derbies, unless he played in the first one in the season. I don't recall.
Yeah, I think he might have.
I don't know, dude. That was back in September.
I think he might have, yeah.
But I'm guessing he didn't want to have these two guys that probably aren't used to playing one another. And the one thing Andre Almeida, he's gonna bring that defensive responsibility because that's all the guy does. Very responsible on the defensive end.
It goes back to that whole issue of Andre Almeida can do a lot of things, but not one of them particularly super. I would say he could do things well. But there's not one position
what's
that
master of what is it? something of all trades, master at none.
Jack of all trades.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Jack of all trades, master of none.
There you go.
That's Andre Almeida. But you know what? That might be the only guy that's going to last another 10 years at Benfica, just like Luizão did.
Yeah. But
because nobody's going to be relatively impressed with this guy.
But those guys are hard to find, though. Those guys that can play they're utility guys that can play multiple positions. Those guys are very hard to find, and you need guys like that will do the dirty work, that will go on the wrong side of their foot and play.
And just like that, I just thought to myself, Sporting's been ranting and raving about having all these Portuguese dudes on it. Benfica got two. Look at that.
How many does Sporting have?
7, I don't know, like 7, I believe they were talking about. It's funny because Belenenses hit them up. They said that they play with 10. Belenenses Twitter account, which is they're one of the best Twitter accounts as far as clubs go.
Yeah, I do like that one.
Yeah, very cool. But I think 7. I mean, look at the lineup again, man. I mean, come on, we have time.
Yeah, no, they definitely have
Rui Patricio, Cedric, Paulo Oliveira, Tobias, João Mário, Carvalho, Adrian, and Nani.
Yeah, that's a huge contingent right there. But ladies and gentlemen, that only happens because they don't have any money, not for anything else.
Opa, I don't really care how many Portuguese players Benfica play with. I know some of you guys are going to disagree with me, but the way I look at it, the only ones that are responsible to field all of 11 Portuguese is the Seleção Nacional.
It's a business.
That's it. It's a business.
It's a business.
I don't see any of you giving back last year's titles when Rodrigo and Markovic and Garay and all those guys who were not Portuguese were regulars on this team. It is what it is. You only complain about it because you don't win. Because I'm pretty sure, given the opportunity, Sportingistas would take the opportunity of fielding an all foreign 11 and winning a title, which God knows they haven't won since 01, right? 01, 02, I believe, or something like that.
They take a break every 18 years, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Every 18 years, they decide to come out and win a title. They're like the groundhog that never comes out of its thing. But anyway, so we're what 11 minutes from kickoff. Is Jardel's going to go?
Yes. Seems like he's going to go.
All right, so Jardel is going to go. Sport TV did report, according to Peter.
I apologize, Nelson. Nelson said I'm giving the dude bad mojo.
Who?
Sorry, Jardel.
Oh, you giving Jardel bad mojo?
Yep.
Jardel's a cool guy. He's just good for a scare. Let's just hope that he keeps the scares maybe on the other side of the field today. We'll see. We'll see what happened. Chris,
Fala.
Keys for the game, brother. I know we probably already touched, but let's get into specific.
Simple, bro. The team that scores the most goals wins.
That's very simple.
Like I think I've hit them all. I think keys for the game is Sporting. They're going to try to exploit the flanks against Benfica. And for Benfica, it's going to be our very experienced striker force against their very inexperienced defenders.
Yeah.
I think that's the keys of the game right there. And obviously you throw in their midfield. I think that'll be the next wave of weaknesses that Sporting's going to try to exploit, which is that midfield. And if Sporting if they're able to control the midfield, they're obviously going to have the ball, most they're going to have possession of the ball. It's going to be a little bit tough for Benfica. But the one thing we've seen is Benfica go out to Estádio do Dragão, give up the possession, play as a unit on the defensive side of the ball, and counter, at a very lethal pace, the way that this Benfica team could do. And so I think that's what Benfica is going to go into this game for. Very compact defending. And try to spring, Salvio and Jonas and Lima up front.
Yeah. I think that you hit a bunch of good points there. I don't think that the pressure's all on Sporting, really, because if they lose this game, only a win really interests them. If they lose this game, they're down 10 points to Benfica.
They're done.
And for all intents and purposes, they can't play Benfica anymore. They're only playing Porto. So it will be very hard to recuperate those 10 points.
But if Benfica loses,
If Benfica loses,
the title race is
I mean, there's
wide open once again. Sporting's within 4 points. Porto obviously won yesterday against Moreirense 2-0. They're right there, 3 points behind Benfica. Benfica still has to play Porto, Guimarães. They have to play Braga, which we all know the difficulties that Braga has posted this Benfica squad over the last couple of seasons. So it's very important that Benfica wins this game today, and not just for the standings, but ladies and gentlemen, for my sake, because I will be mentioning that Paço Ferreira game once again. Most of you guys are sitting at home and killing me on Twitter saying, if we can't, obviously win the rest of our games, we don't deserve to be champ. I understand all that BS, but Benfica had a they had an extremely phenomenal opportunity to put this campeonato to bed, and they effed up at Paço Ferreira. So today, if this is a bad result for Benfica, this will all come back to that game. Everything will come. At least I think. I mean, let's not forget, Benfica were able to blow a 5-point lead just 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
that's what scares me, man.
Let's see if there's any skeletons.
Let's be positive, though. Let's be positive. Let's go, dude.
Let's see if there's any skeletons in the closet that may come out with. All of a sudden, we're down 3 points to Porto. But let's be
we're not down. We're up.
We're up. Right, but we'll be down. We'll be down 3 points if we lose. We would have lost our advantage of 6 points. But let's stay positive and let's make sure we get the win. But I think I'm with you. I think that Sporting will have to have the initiative on this. Benfica will try to be compact, try to get their game settled, and I think that once they get a chance, they're going to go with the quick.
Well, let's not forget Benfica. A draw for them here works fine.
It works fine.
It's a good result for them. Sporting is the ones that if they want to live up to Bruno the Palhaçada's comments, which is, we're going to make a run at the title of the season. They have the responsibility and the pressure of coming out and trying to get a result, which I think will open things up for Benfica. If that's the case, Benfica will be able to counter. But it's going to be very interesting, man, because the Sporting does have 2 very, very good options on the outside that could take on the best of left backs and right backs throughout the majority of Europe and definitely in Portugal.
Yeah, and in the middle also. In the middle, I mean, it's not going to be an easy game by any means, but I think that we're very capable of playing this game the way we're supposed to and win the game. I think that we have enough of a good team to beat this Sporting team. I think that we're a little bit short on individualities this game, but I think this team has been more of a team this year than in past years where we depended a lot on individual talent. And as you could see, with the likes of Enzo and Matic and so on, and Rodrigo and all those guys leaving, lost some of that talent, Markovic. But, I think that the fact that we lost those guys has made this team more of a team. I've seen this team play very compact at times and very well at times behind the ball.
Vamos ver, pá. Should be a fun game. Can't wait to go watch it. Sit over here in Bruno de Carvalho's press box right next to him. Well, no, he'll probably be on the bench. He'll probably be downstairs next to Marco Silva telling him what to do.
Him in his fancy skirt. Any more YouTube comments that we could answer?
Nah, those guys, they've all slogged off. They're trying to watch Risto Stoichkov or wherever part of the world that they're from. They're trying to watch this game rather than listen to us. And I don't blame them because I kind of want to go watch the game rather than sit here and talk.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes to kickoff, and I think that we're going to call it a day. Thank you very much for everybody to watch this. This was the first for us. This is all on the fly, all live. All the production is done by us here, so I hope you enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed it. We love talking Benfica as always, and I'm not really sure that I'll be putting this up as a podcast, but we'll figure something out. We will be back on Tuesday
with Steve. With Steve, ladies and gentlemen, please.
Steve.
No, let's not get it.
With Steve, because I'm sure we lost some viewers today because Steve was
without a doubt.
Steve's
without
the looker,
a doubt,
right?
Steve is the dude. Chalkboard Steve comes in with his glasses, looking like what's his name, the dude Clark Kent. You know what I mean? That's what Steve does. Then he turns off the lights, and obviously everyone at home starts speculating what the hell's going on, and the women get even more interested.
Anyway, we will be back on Tuesday with our regular podcast, and you could also watch us record the podcast if you're the first time watching us here. You can watch us record the podcast just like you're watching here every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock or so on. that we like to come on. Thank you very
8,
much
8:30,
for your support, everybody. Thanks for checking us
Hit
out.
us up on Twitter after the game. Probably won't be talking too much during the game.
No, we won't be.
But definitely be on after the game. Hopefully, we'll all be celebrating another victory at Estádio José Alvalade by our phenomenal squad and our boy Jorge Jesus. Let's hope everything goes well. This team definitely has the quality to pull this off. So
yeah, don't forget to check out our friends over at planetbenfica.co.uk. At 10co10 is where you can find Chris on Twitter. At Benfica Podcast is where you can find me. And I think that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot, everybody, for checking us out. Really been a nice time and pleasure to interact with all of you. And I hope you enjoyed. There you go. See you, everybody. Have a good one.